here we are. Okay, ta-da! Yes, Louisa, ta-da! Oh my goodness, you guys. So it's 116 pages, and the quality, I wish you could all feel it. I wish you could all feel it because the quality, can you hear that? That is nice and sturdy. It's not, it is not cheaply put together, I will tell you that. This is called a perfect binding. So all the pages are kind of glued in sections, and then not glued in sections, they're put together in sections, and then the binding is glued there. So it's not stapled. It's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Wonderful, wonderful feeling to the pages. Some of you had mentioned that you thought you might want to write on the pages and take notes or something like that. If that is the case, I will tell you what I've been using to autograph is one of these guys, the Zig photo signature markers, because that dries instantly and it does not smear. So those are on my website, but that is what I have been using to autograph. Yes, Terry said the inside matches my polish. So my logo, if you did not know, all my branding is basically two colors, navy with the blush. Now, I've done this blush fingernail polish probably for 6 years at least, so that's just kind of always been my thing, long before my brand looked like this. But yes, you see there's the blue, there's the pink, and that inside cover. So let's talk about what's in it. Obviously, table of contents, loads and loads of chapters. It is organized, you guys, by type of list. So chapter 1, beginning and end, about last month. Lists for spring, summer, fall, Halloween, the kind of the holidays. In the news, childhood, family, home, travel, Disney, food, entertainment, all the way down. So lots and lots. I've tried to be very mindful about what would make sense in terms of how you might be looking for things in the idea book. So there we go, table of contents. You have a little letter from me where I kind of explain how all of this came to be. You guys, all of this, the content of this book is from you guys. And what I mean by that is these are all lists. Actually, there's some extra lists, but these are lists that I created on our Saturday sessions over the last 3 years. So running through 2022. That's how that started. This talks about how during the pandemic, the very beginning of the pandemic, how it all started. So that's kind of fun. My little letter to you guys there, little kind of why I list here and how I started listing and kind of where it all started. So there you go. And then this one tells you how to use the book. This is a really important page because what you'll find is every list, with the exception of a few, which there were some technical difficulties and for whatever reason the video doesn't exist anymore. For every list, you will have a photo of the list and you will have at least 3 pieces of information. The date the list was created or recorded, the URL for that list. Now, hold tight on that URL for a minute. And then you have the minute mark. So the hour and minute mark. What that means is you are looking through this idea book. If you see that list and you're like, oh my goodness, I would love to see more about that and how she did it and what product she used. You go, oh, guess what? There's the link. And if I fast forward to the 57-minute mark, that's where she starts creating that list. Now, you're going to think, oh my gosh, Layle, that is a really long link to type out. I don't want to have to type that out. You don't have to, because when you buy the book, you will receive an email. The email is a digital copy of this book. So if that was the list you wanted to see, you would go there, you would click on that link. That is a hot link in the digital version. So you'd click on that, that would take you right to that list, and then you fast forward to the 57-minute mark. So that is how this book is designed to be used. So some of you will want to go and actually watch that list and see how I did it. Others of you will be like, yeah, I don't really care to do that. I just want to get ideas of how I can, create different lists. So there you go. You have a list of our 2022 list topics, a list of our 2021 list topics. That was smack dab in the middle of the pandemic. So there were a lot of those. And then by date, by the way, so chronological, but it's reverse chronological. And then 2022. And then here you go. So there's one more button that we need to talk about. That last button right there, that means that the list is interactive. It means it's more than just what you see. So for example, this guy, there's something else happening. On some of the lists, it will show you, oh, look it, that's a little page turner. That's the other side of the list. In other ones, it won't visually show you that, but anytime something is interactive, you'll see that little icon. Terry, thank you. Terry said amazing. Seriously, Layle, you thought of everything. Thank you, Terry. I'm sure I didn't think of everything. Honestly, I'm sure it hasn't hit yet because I've stared at it and proofed it so many times, but I'm sure. And I welcome this. Please know I welcome this. One of you will reach out and say, oh gosh, you know what? Fantastic, but I really wish you would have done this, or it would have been awesome, or next time, do you think you could do this or add this? So I really want to hear that if you guys, if you guys have that. So beginning and end is things like things you're looking forward to, things you want to learn, things you're focusing on, trends, ending a year, 2021 by the numbers, things you want to forget, things you learned. So that's kind of what beginning and end is. Lots and lots and lots of those. And then of course, about last month. And about last month is what the first list is that we are going to start with today, about last month. But many of you know about that. So this is all of my about last month lists chronologically. Tons of ideas here. And we really focused on the size of the photos so that if you did not want to have to go to the website, not the website, but the YouTube video to see it, and that's a pretty good size photo. Those are 3x3 size photos. So you can get a pretty good feel if you wanted to. If you think, oh my gosh, I love the way that looks, I want to recreate that or be inspired by it, then you can see it, you can see enough detail. Spring, summer by season, like we talked about. So spring, summer, winter, fall, Christmas, lots of Christmases, winter in the news. So and in the news is one of the lists that we do every week, or excuse me, every month. Childhood, so lists about your childhood friends, favorite school lunches, your favorite cereals as a kid. Here's an example, just so you know, of when the video is no longer there. And honestly, I have no idea what happened. You'll just see something like that says technical difficulties. The video no longer exists for this list. Sorry, so you can't actually go and see that being created. Family. Oh, look, there's my mom. There's my mom and me as a little something. I don't know, probably, 1969. All right, so home. Travel, Disney. There's a whole section on Disney because I know how many of you love Disney. And actually, well, when I say whole section, there's 6 lists. There's a section on Disney, and most of these lists haven't been seen before. Food, well, seen on a Saturday before. I used them for something else. Food, entertainment, opposites attract. So then and now, love and hate, good and bad. Dogs and cats, lots of things there. Here and now. So these are kind of like currently things. So, it's really anytime I was documenting like the currently, what's happening currently, if you want to document the here and now, all about me. And all about me is kind of a really big catch-all. If you really want to document you, these would be specific lists that you would come to document you. And there's lots and lots of those pages. Looking back now would be kind of like, it'd be looking back in time. Best things about yesterday, or good things about the last 6 months, things that you learned, silver linings, advice to your younger self. High school fashion, there I am in high school. All right, anyhow, so, and then you have a miscellaneous section. The miscellaneous section where it was like, I don't really know where to put those things. The last section of the book, groups my stamps together. So it shows you each of the stamps, gives you a little blurb about the stamp. It shows you an example of how that was used. And then it tells you if you want to see more lists using this stamp. So some of you have bought my stamps and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a collector, but what in the world do I do with them? Guess what you do? You come to the idea book and you go, you know what? I should also, let me tell you about this really quick. So list builder, all the things. Right now, there's only 2 lists that show that because that one was released in December. So I had only done 2 lists with that particular stamp set. So next year, there'll be lots more for that one. But that is, hopefully that's a really good resource for those of you that have the stamps. For example, the favorites list, the favorite stamp, look at all the pages in the book where that particular stamp is used. So there you go. And then you have what I really hope will be a very useful section, the index. Okay, the index, you guys, if you are not familiar with how an index works, let's think of a recipe book. So in the recipe book, at the beginning of the recipe book, you have a chapter for chicken, right? So you have a chapter for chicken. So if you want to make a recipe with chicken, you would go to the chicken chapter. But maybe you want to look for a recipe that has like a chicken noodle soup recipe, but you don't know where to find that. You can go to the index and look for chicken noodle soup and it tells you what page it's on. So translating that into the index, let's say you want to find a list. You want to find a list where, let's see, a list about books, okay? Maybe you are an avid reader and you would like to see any lists that have been done about books. Books, page 74. Prior to 2023, I'd only done 1 list. If you want to see a list about famous people, go to page 93. You'll see a couple lists that I did about famous people. If you want to see favorites lists, go to page 94 and 99. If you want to see, oh, here's one, because I think there will be a lot of questions about this. You guys know how much I love Carrie Bradford and her stamps. I use a ton of Carrie's stamps in my lists. So when I was working on the idea book, I reached out to my friend Carrie and said, hey, Carrie, would you be okay if I included you in the index? So if people wanted to see everywhere I used your stamps, that they could see that. And she said, oh my gosh, yes, of course. So look at stamps. If you want to see everywhere stamps were used, this shows you everywhere stamps were used. That's where every page Carrie Bradford stamps were used, that I used Carrie stamps. You can see I'm a big lover of those. Same thing, if you want to see where all of my stamps are used, you can go there. So, you guys, there we go. That's the idea book. That is a huge, huge, huge labor of love that I am really proud of. So I'm very proud of. Like I said, I could not have done that without help from Amy, without help from my graphic designer, without help from the printer. And then Nick too, because Nick helped proof it when I was so beyond proofing I couldn't even see straight anymore, which was great because he's like, why is that a little bit lower than the other one? So he was picking up things I hadn't picked up on. Okay, friends. All right, Terry, go to the beach. Go to the beach. Have fun, have fun, have fun. Oh yes, scattered notes. There are a few sections where you have scattered notes. Peggy, yeah, thank you. Peggy said there's more than 200 of you guys watching live.